you two answers. One would be friendly.
Wow, there's so many words that would fit it, but I believe it would be love.
Family.
Victorious.
Welcome.
The love that we have for one another, the love we have for a preacher, and we're just cheerleaders for one another. That's what we are.
God has led us through a lot of victories.
We have a culture that we are there for one another. If someone's sick, you're going to be taken care of.
The more I think about it, anyone could be friendly, and it's just superficial. So I would say it's a very caring church.
Oh my goodness. So I started coming in about the summer of 1999.
I have been coming to FBC for 12 years.
We were here with Springboro Missionary Baptist Chapel, and we've been here since about '87.
My oldest grandson was 1 month old when we came here in September, and he will be 27 years, September 2024.
It was in July of 1999.
So that's how long Preacher and Sharon have put up with me.
But I remember Chris, my husband, telling me, he was excited about me moving back here, talking about Preacher or Sharon. He had met them, and the church is very interesting because my husband's family is one of the first families that Pastor Carr actually came in contact with.
My oldest daughter, our Lord was working on her heart. Donna Morris and Beth Cooper came by where she was living and led my daughter to Christ. And I've never left in 27 years.
This is funny because I've been here so long, but when we were looking for churches and we tried out a couple churches, and they were just too small and I didn't care for them. And we came to Lighthouse Baptist, which is now First Baptist Church of Springboro, and we went to the service. And my husband, who was not a churchgoer at all growing up, he and my daughters loved the church. And I was just like, really?
Well, he's brought a lot of energy to the church, and a church needs that. It needs the energy and it needs the vision. And I believe Preacher's had the vision and he's had the energy. They were just full of energy, and they still are. And I thank God for him sending Preacher here.
My husband was just very excited about me meeting them, and he really talked up the church, really talked up, how interesting and how neat it was, because they started out in a hotel, and that was hardly ever heard of. We never heard of a church meeting in a hotel.
Sharon has always been a shoulder I can cry on.
Preacher was always, for as long as I can remember, teaching and preaching to us, have a relationship with Christ.
And the reason I said that, it wasn't anything against Pastor or Sharon. It was the fact that it was a small church, and I grew up in Dayton Baptist Temple of Dayton, and we had days of 1,700 people, and we had a youth choir of 30, and I wanted that for my girls.
My daughter was the one that invited me here. She was coming here first, and I can finally look back at how they cared about her, and that's what made me fall in love with this church, is seeing how they loved my daughter through a very, very hard time in her life.
And seeing the merger, we were here during that, and when Brother Carr and Sharon came and set up their ministry here, and it's blossomed since that, and I thank God for that. I really do.
For the first time, really ever, I had a close-knit family. I became part of a close-knit family, and people that were truly caring about you and truly there for you.
But it's, funny when you think back about it, God knows where He wants you, and He knows where you need to be. They were smaller, closer groups, which was actually more beneficial to my family than a big church group would have been. So, and then they were just loved so much. I've felt the love from this church and from Pastor and Sharon over the years, and I wouldn't give that up.
here I am, 75 years old almost, and I look back at these kids in the church and how much it's grown, and I think I just see God's hand in it, the growth of the church, and I just hope it keeps prospering, and that's my prayer for our church, that it keeps growing and prospering, and we can be a great light to this community. I think that's what it's all about, for us to be a light to community and get the gospel out and see people saved. So that's my hope and my dreams for this church.